As a growing economic force and undergoing major cultural changes, is gender equality becoming a bigger issue there?
In theory, yes. I and other Chinese women are enjoying higher social status right now. I make money for my family with my job at an American sneaker production plant. Under the China Constitution and the law on the protection of the rights and interests of women, we enjoy equal political, working, property, and also cultural rights as men.
As a woman in the Chinese workplace, do you feel that these laws have done an effective job to give you the same rights as men?
Well, we make up almost 47% of the workforce now, but I feel like the traditional views are still in place. The woman is still thought of, just like in the old times, as the one responsible for the well-being of the family, which is at the core of Chinese culture. So it makes sense that she is not as valued as a man in the workplace because she has to balance family duties with work. Employment recruiters would come to campus and tell us outright that they would not hire women because they didn't want to worry about the hassle of giving us benefits.
Speaking of benefits, what are the conditions for maternity leave in China?
We get 90 days from the birth of the child, and it is a paid leave. However, because of the one-child rule, we get only one maternity leave in a lifetime.
Can you also tell me more about the income discrepancies?
Yes, although laws were passed in 1980 and 1992 to protect women's rights and ban sexual discrimination, the truth is that we only make about 77% of what men make, and most of the women work in low-paying, low-skill jobs.
Do you think that education plays a large role in views on gender equality?
Of course, it has been proven that men and women with higher education have a more favorable attitude about women as managers, for example. But not everyone is so lucky as me to be able to go to college. Back in my hometown, girls are still not being sent to school, even though there is a law requiring primary education for everyone. Their parents just don't think it's worth it, educating a girl when she will soon belong to another family through marriage.
Sexual discrimination was supposed to have been abolished in China back in 1949 when Chairman Mao famously announced that women hold up half the sky. Is this still applicable to New China?
If that statement was true, it certainly does not reflect in the attitude of men towards women in the workplace. And it was only in 2005 that sexual harassment in the workplace was outlawed. Before then, women had to bear the abuse in silence.
A recent national survey of 8.com and Chat magazine found 79% of female respondents had experienced sexual harassment. Women still suffer.
I think that law does not have much effect when women are afraid to file, not strictly enforced. What has to change is really the underlying attitude, not just the men's sexist one, but the women's passive one as well. All women need to realize that they can now take legal action if they feel harassed.
What are some of the changes that can be made to restructure Chinese society and provide for true gender equality in the future?
Higher education needs to be provided to all girls, first of all. As of now, our jobs tend to be simple and in the service sector, making women the easiest targets for layoffs. Countries like America, with their large corporations, like the one I work for, Nike, employ unskilled women to work in their shoe production factories. People in first world countries enjoy the finished products without realizing that many women in China receive really low wages and work in terrible cramped environments with bad working hours.
Well, Lee, we're out of time, and I'd like to thank you very much for your input. Next, we'll speak to Harshani, an Indian working woman. Hello, Harshani. A recent news story stated that at the turn of the century, big names in India Incorporated, Value, and Unwritten Code do not employ women. What are your feelings about the labor situation in India regarding women?
I think it's pretty discouraging. That policy stated is not surprising, as experts say that a bare 3% of women occupy senior positions in private companies across India, and most of the companies only have 5 to 6% women employees. Male representatives in private companies give various reasons for these appalling figures. Some blatantly say that there are traditional companies that don't hire women. Others cite safety as an issue, while others say that maternity leaves are a serious interruption of work. The corporate world has been and is one where men can escape away from home and family. Men make the rules, and when women come into this world, they're not sure how to conduct themselves. In the Indian context, men learn to see women as mothers, sisters, wives, and daughters.
So in other words, the idea of women as colleagues and as equals is very new and quite intimidating to Indian men.
Yes. What's really frustrating to me is that women tend to hold lower level positions than men, even when they have sufficient skills to perform higher level jobs.
So exactly how much do women earn in relation to men?
I found that even in cases when women occupy similar positions and have similar educational levels, they earn just 80% of what men do.
Is sexual harassment an issue for the small percentage of employed Indian women?
Indian women are constantly quitting their jobs rather than fighting unwelcome advances from their male bosses. Women in particular fear approaching the courts even for serious sexual crimes, such as rapes, because of the abysmally low record of convictions and because of damaging publicity.
If you were a woman expecting a baby while employed, what would happen then?
There's a law referred to as the Maternity Benefit Act of 1961. This law is applicable to every institution under the government, be it institutional, commercial, or agricultural. It is important for all women to know about it because it provides for certain benefits to her during a pregnancy. The maternity leave right in India stipulates that a woman cannot be dismissed from her job just because she is expecting. Also, this policy provides that all working mothers-to-be are entitled to a maternity leave period of 12 weeks from her office. While the first 6 weeks of maternity leave is to be taken before delivery, the remaining 6 weeks of leave will be granted immediately after the child is born, or when she goes off on the leave.
I've heard that a modification was recently suggested in the Maternity Benefit Act of 1961. According to this new proposal, the maternity leave will be extended from the present 3 months to 6 months. What are your feelings?
Women may welcome it, and some may feel it will hamper their professional career. This suggestion was probably given in lieu of the fact that a baby needs to be nursed by the mother for a minimum of 6 weeks. I believe that the commendable 21st century corporations will be those that recognize and act on the fact that the world, as we know it, does come in 2 sexes. Both men and women bring valuable and different experiences, skills, and expertise to the workplace. By creating an environment that is less hospitable to women, men deprive themselves of a challenge to work with women. Women, in turn, are cheated out of the opportunity to use their education and training to make a contribution to society.
Well, that's all the time we have. Thank you. From this documentary, I hope you have learned more about the working women in various parts of the globe. Gender inequality is still a large problem in both developed and developing countries, as you can tell. A true progress can only be made if the culturally shaped perceptions about what makes women inferior to men are changed around the globe.